How's it going? It's Marshall, and it's late on a Sunday, and I'm doing a video for you here tonight. I got another video here on the TR-09 specifically, and what I'm going to show you is a track that I actually made back in 2004 using Reason. What I've done is I've basically taken this track and reworked it in Ableton and added specific percussion elements from the TR-09 in a normal studio type workflow. This is primarily how I will be utilizing this this instrument in future projects. This one I felt was appropriate because, again, this instrument was super popular in the 1990s, late 90s, early 2000s in trance music. It's also subsequently around the time I started listening to that type of music and also producing. So what I have done here is I have my Ableton push, and I hope that's not out of focus. This freaking camera sucks with light in here. Looks kind of hazy. Anyway, basically I have recreated the song, and I have the different columns of different instruments. These are all the percussion stuff's all grouped together. This is all the bass stuff, bass lines. This is kind of a secondary bass line here. This is my main lead, my main trance lead. These three are actually, it's grouped right now. If I close that. This is an arpeggiator. Well, it's not really an arpeggiator because Reason didn't have an arpeggiator back then, so this was hand sequenced by me in Reason. And then this over here is kind of like a strings type thing. And you'll see what I mean. So this doesn't look like there's a lot going on here, but if we go over to Ableton itself, you can see there's a lot. So if I just open up just the percussion group here, I've got a Rex loop, which I hate using that kind of stuff, but back then, yeah, you know, if it's good in this track. This kick was actually the original kick, which is not enabled for this track. And then we have our TR-09, which in here, and I'll just kind of bring this up, give you an idea of the samples I'm using right now. In the song, I'm using the ride, the open hi-hat, closed hi-hat, and that kick. Now, when I go to actually make my final mix of this and master it and everything, I will actually sample these individual sounds themselves. And in addition, there is a 909 snare and crash that I'm using, but I'm actually using the original sampled sounds that I had in Reason. They're pretty much the same thing, but when I go through and make the final version of this, the snare, the 909 snare, and the 909 crash, I will actually use from the TR-09, and yeah, I'll give you guys a taste of that once I get to that point. The reason why I didn't use them in this particular song is because of something strange with the TR-09. The way I mix my tracks, it's very, very important, and I didn't even want to do it in this case, but because I wanted to make a video for you guys of kind of how I'll be utilizing this instrument, I decided to go ahead with it. The kick drum I would never have on the same channel as anything else. I usually have it all by itself. That way you can isolate it and get more punch out of your kick. And yeah, so, and again, that's the way I will do this when I go to master this track for its final version. I will individually sample the kick from itself. The hi-hats and stuff, they're fine usually all together. But the kick specifically, kicks, snares, and claps, I usually have separated just so I have more control of them and where and how they sit in the mix. So I just want to lay that out there. So the crash and the 909 snare that I'm using are not from the TR-09, but they're basically the same sounds. Yeah. Yeah, so there was a weird thing. I thought that with the TR-09, you could potentially, I don't know how to explain this, make separate MIDI tracks in Ableton, and you might be able to, but the thing that I ran into is if you have more than one, whichever one starts the latest is kind of takes over. So what I was planning on doing was setting up a MIDI track for the kick, MIDI track for the hi-hats, MIDI track for the snares, MIDI track for the crashes. Okay, and then that way I could simply mute one of those and basically bring in the audio in that way. That didn't turn out to be the case for whatever reason. And I bet you if I read the manual, you can maybe fix that and assign specific MIDI channels to specific sounds. I'm hoping that's the case anyway, because that's what I'll end up doing. But for right now, all we're doing is we're using MIDI channel 10. And we are basically using the external instrument in Ableton and triggering from the Ableton clip here, for example. This information is being sent to the TR-09. This is not playing off of the pattern sequencer in the 09, if that makes sense. So, and this is normally how I work. I will create clips and with MIDI data, and I will trigger instruments, either VSTs, hardware, or what have you. So yeah, so there's still some stuff I'm trying to figure out about the TR-09, but for the sake of time and to be able to show you guys this and to listen to it, this is what I'm doing. So if you have any questions, leave your comments below. I'd love to hear from you, of course. Let me know what you think of the track. It's not going to be dubstep or anything like electro house. It's going to be old school trance, folks, which is what this TR-09 was famous for. So yeah. All right. If you have any questions, like I said, let me know. Like the video, all that good stuff. I'm going to go ahead and shut up, and I will play what I've got for you. I totally missed that last part. That's okay, though. That's pretty much the song. Bam. So there you have it. That's a good example of some early 90s. I shouldn't say early 90s, but we're kind of like late 90s, early 2000s trance using this amazing machine, the TR-09. This thing sounds good, guys. It really does. It's pretty impressive. If you're on the fence, I say get one. Yeah, specifically, I don't know if you have any questions about kind of what, I don't know what kind of questions you'd have. If you have any, let me know. Basically, I mean, it's hard to go through the individual settings, but there are some tweaks that I've done here in terms of, you know, tune to the kick drum, things like that to get it to sound that way. And again, this is not the final version of this. There's some mastering and stuff. I know it's not perfect. But yeah. Let me know what you think, guys. Appreciate you watching. I guess I'll give myself a quick little plug at the end here. Thank you if you're still sticking around. My latest release is called Imaginary Vectors, and I appreciate it if you are interested at all. Please check that out. You can find it at Beatport, iTunes, Spotify, you know, pretty much any of the digital download stores, streaming services. I think you can find it there for sure. And I appreciate you watching the show, folks. I'll be back. I've got some more, so please subscribe to the channel. It's growing, actually. It's really cool. So I appreciate everyone who's subscribed here recently, and keep them coming. All right. Thanks, guys.